Hey, how's it going? Today I'm going to be reviewing the Tritton Beaches X41s and the Tritton AX Pros. Both great headsets, but I hope this just gives you a little insight to the pros and cons of each. They both have them, and this should help you figure out which one you want. Now, both the Trittons and the Tritton Beaches work on the Xbox and the PC, but only the Trittons work on the PS3. Now, a little myth about the X41s. They say you need an adapter to use them on the PC. That is not true. If you just want to listen, you can. If your computer has fiber optics, you can plug it in and it'll work just fine. However, if you want to talk, you do need to buy the adapter. Otherwise, you can't do much. The adapter is only like 10 or 15 bucks. But it does still work in surround sound if you use the fiber optics. Okay, now let's jump into the Trittons. The Trittons are a really good headset. So obviously, they have 5.1 surround sound, but it's a true surround sound, which makes them really interesting. They each of the headphones, each side has a bunch of different speakers in it. So one for the front, one for the back, one for the side, another one for the other side, obviously. So it's actually true surround sound. Now, the Tritton Beaches aren't like that. We'll go over that in a bit. But they're true surround sound, which supposedly makes it a better sounding headset. However, I found that I don't think it sounds quite as good as the Tritton Beaches. It does sound really good. Obviously, you can hear which direction it's coming from, but the simulated, for some reason, sounds better to me. Also, with the Trittons, everything's really good about them as far as sound goes, but there's a few other issues that I don't think are as good, so let's jump into the cons. They are 2 or 3 times heavier than the Tritton Beaches, so they do weigh a bit on your head. So if you're doing extended gaming hours, it does start to feel a little heavy on you. But the cups themselves and everything, they're really comfortable, so that's a good thing. But it is heavy. More importantly, though, the headphones get really hot. I'm not sure if it's not ventilated well enough or what it is, but it's definitely a design flaw. They get really hot on your ears. If you're gaming for more than half an hour, you're going to start to feel some serious heat on your ears, and the longer you game, the hotter it's going to get, and it starts to feel very uncomfortable. That's something you're going to want to keep in mind if you don't want to overheat when you're gaming. I would always take them off for a little bit and just let them air off. I'd start waving it at them, hoping that would help. I always wanted to put ice on them. I never did, obviously, because that probably would have been really bad if it melted on the electronic components, but that's always what I wanted to. I mean, it gets seriously hot. You're going to want to take breaks, just let your ears cool down. The headset broke on me. I'm not saying that's just a trying problem. Both my headsets broke on me. So we'll talk about this one first. The mic kept breaking. People couldn't hear me. I'd have to have it in the perfect position, or they just couldn't hear me at all. It kept getting worse and worse and worse until really it didn't work at all. I bought a new mic for like 10 bucks and fixed the problem, but then 2 months later, my mic broke again. Also, the band that goes around the top of the head, it's made of it's plastic on top, and then obviously plush on the bottom, so it feels nice. But the plastic broke apart. It made it loose on my head, which was a little annoying. At that point, when the mic broke a second time, and I had that, I was like, okay, we're gonna send this in, and we want it fixed. And they fixed it for me. They gave me a bit of a runaround. It was a little confusing to get them to actually help me, but they fixed it for free, didn't charge me anything. I'd probably give them 7 or 8 stars out of 10 as far as customer service goes. So those are the main problems. But the main thing, I probably should have defective headsets. So the main thing I'd say is the main con is how hot it gets. And it gets pretty unbearably hot. So that. Also, the headset's wired, which some people that matters, some people it doesn't. So you're obviously going to have a wire going from your console to your head. It also plugs into power, so you need an open power spot for it. So just keep that stuff in mind. If a wire is going to get in the way, this probably isn't the headset for you, but if you don't mind wires, it's not a big deal. Didn't really bother me too much. If you are moving around a lot, though. I moved mine from my PC to my Xbox and back and forth probably a couple times a day, and it got a little annoying because I'd have to, it was something like 4 or 5 wires that I had to move around and plug them and replug them, and it's a bit of a hassle. So if that's something you're not wanting to deal with, you probably want to go with the Trittons, or the Turtle Beaches, sorry. Moving on, let's go to the Turtle Beaches. The Turtle Beaches, great headset. Also, like I was telling you earlier, it does have surround sound, 7.1 surround sound, so it's even more points. But the Xbox itself is only 5.1 surround sound, so if you're using it for Xbox gaming, that doesn't matter. The PC, obviously, you can get higher surround sound from that because it can do anything, play movies, video games, doesn't matter. The other things about it, it is simulated surround sound. Like I was saying earlier, the Turtle Beaches are true surround sound. You've got a whole bunch of different speakers inside your headphones. With the Turtle Beaches, you just have one speaker, and it simulates where it's coming from. I don't know how it works, but it does. And I was saying earlier, I actually think it works better. Don't ask me why. I was able to hear where people were better with simulated surround sound than I was with the true surround on the Trittons. So take that for what it's worth, but both of them sounded great. It wasn't a huge difference, it was just minor. Like I was also saying that the headset, Turtle Beaches, they also broke. So that's something to keep in mind. Maybe both of them could use some better designing, I'm not sure. I've had another friend who has Turtle Beaches and his haven't ever broke in 2 years. But when I first got mine, the microphone started pooping out on mine as well. Turned out it was a problem with the headset itself. They fixed it for me, no problem. Their customer service was quite phenomenal, though. I'd give them 10 out of 10. I was really impressed at how fast they got my stuff back to me and how much hassle I didn't have to go through. Turtle Beach's customer service is top notch. There are some cons. Obviously, it's wireless and it runs on a frequency, since it runs on a frequency that's similar to your router. So if you have your transmitter, which is this big thing here, close to your router or anyone else's router or anything like that, it can interfere really easily. So you want to try and keep them away from each other if possible. I have mine about, I wear my headset about 15 feet away from my TV, and I usually don't have any problems, but occasionally you'll get a loud popping noise and it can kind of hurt your ears a little bit. And it all really depends on what's going on in your house with the frequencies interfering. But if you get a problem with it, just move your transmitter close to your headset, and it usually fixes the problem. So it's not a huge deal, but it can be a little annoying, so keep that in mind. It also is wireless, so it needs batteries. It needs power from somewhere. If you buy rechargeable batteries, though, it's not too big of a deal. It's supposed to last you 24 hours of playtime, and so it's not too bad. But the only thing is, it doesn't warn you when it's running out of batteries. It just dies, and then you'll be in the middle of a game. You're like, oh great, I can't hear anything, and your friends are yelling at you, and you can't respond. So it's a little frustrating. That's the main thing. The talk, there's a minor thing, like it's got a feature in it which is, mostly helpful, but occasionally bad. If you set the volume you want to hear your other people talking, and if your game volume gets louder, it automatically makes the talking volume louder as well. Only problem is if you start shooting up a storm or doing something really loud, and then your friends start talking at the same time, all of a sudden it sounds like they're screaming in your ear, and you're like, this sucks. But it doesn't happen too often. It usually works out pretty well. That's the main thing. If I were to recommend a headset, I'd say go with the Turtle Beaches. I think you'd enjoy them more. They're right now, if you want just the X41s, they've dropped in price, so you can get them quite a bit cheaper than the AX Pros. I think it's about 120ish. You can find them now. They've got a newer version of the AX40 or the X41s that makes so you don't need a wire going from your headset to your paddle, but that makes it so you have about half the battery life also. They're about the same price, maybe a little more They're actually, I think, about $200, and you can get the AX Pros for $160. So if you get the older model, it'll save you a little bit of money, and you'll have longer battery life, and all you have to do is have one wire going from your headset to your paddle, which, you know, it gets in the way, but it's not too bad. So it's up to you, but I'd recommend the X41s, but if you don't mind a little heat between your ears, the Tritton's a really good headset also. Let me know if you guys have any questions.